Hi there. I'll be demoing my project on dynamic binaural audio for the fall of 2019 Multimedia Systems class with Dr. Pan. Hope you enjoy. So, what is binaural audio? It is audio that when played back to you will give off positional cues to your brain that places sound coming from different areas around you. Binaural audio is essentially 3D sound. This is not to be confused with surround sound, where the sound may be around you in every direction, but you can always tell which speaker it is coming from, and the distance that you perceive that sound never moves from the speaker you hear it from. In binaural audio, there are only two sound sources, one for each ear. You need only earphones to hear binaural audio, and you can tell how far away sounds are, something household surround sound could not replicate. Let's hear a couple examples now. Note that you'll only hear the effects with headphones on. Good thing this is a YouTube demo and not an in-class one. So grab your headphones if you have them. Also note how if you were to look up or down, the barber would sound like he is walking around on a perpendicular to the ground floor. It would ruin the experience, and this is something dynamic binaural audio attempts to fix. Here is the famous barbershop binaural audio recording. If you heard this before, feel free to skip in front of this. And after, I'll be showing a prank video someone in class showed me in the project update feedback.
How are you? Yes. You are here for the virtual haircut? Yes, okay. I will go get Luigi. He will come and cut your hair. I am Manuel. Just stay right there. Luigi? Luigi? Luigi! It's Manuel here. The person is here for the virtual haircut. You better come up.
Grazie, Manuel. I come right now.
Okay. He is coming up right now, and meanwhile I will go over here and play the music, play the guitar, because that is what I do here at the barber shop.
It's so nice to see you. Welcome to the Starkey Cetera Barbershop and your virtual haircut. I'd like to start the demonstration by moving over to your right-hand side and picking up this bag. If you just hold still for a second, I'll put this bag over your head. Just like that.
Alright, now let's see the door knocking prank. So that concept of door knocks being heard all around you is actually used in a Doctor Who episode called Knock Knock, which we'll touch on later on. So, before getting into how binaural audio works, know that it is attempting to recreate what your brain already does subconsciously. Gironazzo Michel states that the most important changes to audio are these four factors: acoustic delays, shadowing due to your head diffraction, reflections on pinnae contours and shoulders, and resonances inside the ear cavities. Sounds that you hear arrive at your left and right ears at different times, volumes, and angles. The brain uses these differences to determine the sound's location instantly. How can you record it? There are a few ways to record it. The most common way is not as technical as you might assume. The technique is to use a recording device that is shaped like your average human head, a bust, with recording devices in each ear. The way the audio being recorded has the same bounce and reflection of your own ears and head would have. Prices, as shown, can vary quite a bit, with the more expensive versions being more precise and higher quality than lesser models. Really, you could just have two microphones about 7 inches apart and try and record that way. You wouldn't have the same bounce that your ears create, but it would still give you some kind of effect. On the right is the Neumann KU100 from Germany, and on the left is 3D-IO's Sounds FS binaural microphone from Vancouver, Washington. The algorithms they use to record the 3D sound specifically is discussed later on. Let's look at the human-related transfer function. It's a function that comes up a lot in binaural audio It is set to fit changes to audio that your ears on the side of your head create to a left and right audio channel. HRTFs are at work in any binaural audio recording device. They help capture what the dummy heads are picking up as precisely as possible. The HRTF must be similar in structure to the dummy head it is recording from, or to the human it goes to. Advancements are being made to individualize the HRTFs. For example, a baby's head would not have the same acoustics as an adult, so a different dummy head or a different HRTF would be necessary for a baby, but this can come up even between two different adults. In 1994, HRTF measurements of a dummy head microphone named Kemar were completed by Bill Gardner and Keith Martin, who then put them on the internet for free. Many products that use or recreate binaural audio do so with their work. A couple examples shown later on use some of their work as well. So, how can you play back binaural audio? Also simply through earphones, but there is some special techniques being developed. It can be played through earphones because they let you isolate sound in separate ears, something that speaker setups typically can't do. There's a special technique in development by a Stanford team involving a digital filter that enables side-by-side forward-facing speakers to phase out sound that would otherwise overlap and enter both ears. The sound overlap is referred to as crosstalk by the audio field. The filter is such that the sound coming from them in front of you enters your ears similar to headphones, without crosstalk. We'll see an example of that in the video, which also happens to have a good explanation of what binaural audio is trying to achieve. Note that the example, which I will not show, honestly does not sound too convincing, at least not for me. I'm assuming that is because of a less than ideal speaker setup, and because this work is still being improved upon. Other people are trying this as well. There's a company called Com here that has a similar product called the MyBeam, a single flat elongated speaker set in front of you that produces 3D sounds similar to this. There'll be a link in the description. So let's just see his take on how this works.
From the right part of the concert hall. Even if your eyes are closed, you can tell that that person is standing all the way to the right-hand side. Your brain can tell because it receives three kinds of cues. The first kind of cue is simply the time it takes for the sound to get to your right ear is slightly shorter than the time it takes for the sound to reach your left ear. That time difference between the two ears is enough for the brain to analyze very quickly and realize that the sound must be coming from the right and not from the left. The second kind of cue is the sound as it travels from the source. When it hits your right ear, it has a certain level. By the time it hits your left ear, it has a lower level. So to record in 3D for loudspeakers, all we need is two microphones. If the microphones are placed inside the ears of a dummy head, the microphones will record the correct 3D cues needed for humans to hear in 3D. The trick is in the playback. The reason you don't hear in 3D through normal speakers is that the left speaker contains the 3D cues for your left ear and the right speaker for your right ear. But these cues get corrupted when your left ear hears the right speaker and your right ear hears the left speaker. This is called crosstalk. And without cancelling the crosstalk, the cues get mixed up and your brain won't get the information it needs to hear in 3D. You need now to take what's on the right channel, make it go to the right ear, and the left channel, make it arrive to the left ear. Essentially putting a wall between the two speakers. By sending negative and positive pressure waves from each speaker, my filter does that, so that the left speaker's sound never reaches the right ear, and vice versa.
There you have it. So yeah, that filter isn't a real wall filter, it's a digital filter to eliminate the crosstalk. Let's see. Oh, pretty cool. Why hasn't it taken off? For a bunch of reasons. Most are just practical. Some are because the technology is not there yet. Others are because existing technology is just too expensive. Or is just not enough reason to switch. For me, didn't even know that this was really a possibility until I stumbled upon the barbershop video. So that's definitely not, the easiest way to get into something. And there's not a ton of, music or video that's accessible to test it out. And most importantly, it's still being improved upon. There's still slight imperfections especially in the last video. If you keep watching, he'll give an example demo of his product, and it just doesn't sound that great, I guess, or exact. So how about dynamic true 3D binaural audio? So this is binaural audio that moves with you, or sounds that move in front of you as you move. Why should it be dynamic? So imagine a scenario of a binaural audio concert recording. If you were to bob your head or dance around while listening, all of a sudden the stage would be shaking around as your head shakes. You wouldn't be able to go closer to the location of the sound either. You couldn't go up to the stage and hear closer. Naturally, this environment of 3D sound lends itself to VR and its technology. Picture a VR scene of a hockey game from front row seats. With capable dynamic binaural audio, the sound wouldn't take place from one location in that hockey arena. It would instead be all around you. So there's lots of challenges and drawbacks that we'll get into. Mainly capturing the three perspectives: the environment acoustics, so if you're in the arena hearing all the sounds around you; the listener position, so in the hockey arena case you'd be in one position, that could be easier. Your head would still be moving, but at least the calculations would be smaller. You wouldn't be running or quickly snapping your head. And sound movement as well. You'd have to be able to add HRTFs to all the elements in the environment around you: the fans behind you, the hockey action in front of you. And the transfer functions themselves would have to be faster and more responsive than they are currently. And your whole setup would probably have to be plugged in or require expensive batteries. VR headsets are already an expensive product, but if you had to include head tracking for the dynamic binaural audio and a capable headset, that would just make the price even more expensive. And then you can't have it too heavy as well. You already have this headset, now you have big earphones, and now your headset has head tracking capabilities, and yeah. So in VR today, it obviously fits very practically with VR. That's what we'll be discussing it the most. And the end goal for virtual reality is to have true VR, where you are seamlessly transported to a space that sounds and looks just like ours. Since any earphone wearer can hear binaural audio, all VR setups have binaural audio capabilities. And HRTFs also give game developers the ability to have moving objects sound 3D, as the HRTFs are applied to objects moving around. For game developers, this means lasting sound effects like a car horn would have to be updated as you move your head towards it. There are still many challenges. And for dynamic binaural audio, you and the object move, so the HRTFs must be updated simultaneously with where your head position is. This makes it much more complex. It can be taken even further when the environment is taken into consideration. If you were to be near a wall or laying on a pillow, the audio transfer functions should be manipulated to match the changes appropriately, all in real time. As you can see, there are lots of hurdles computationally, and the ones that work currently are not immaculate. And there's other technology out there, like Dolby Atmos 3D sound, but another classmate is covering that technology already, and it is not exactly binaural audio. Potential for use in video games. So obviously the VR video games benefit, which we've already kind of discussed, though we imagine that first-person games that are not VR could also benefit from binaural audio, as the camera perspective is from a fixed human point. A lot of games that claim to have positional audio simply have left-right audio channels and use volume to mimic the direction of sound, not very precisely. Valve has made use of HRTFs, discussed earlier, to give you a binaural audio experience in their FPS game Counter-Strike. There are still imperfections. The HRTF change comes with slight delays and inaccuracies that can be disorientating, and it also comes with lower fidelity than normal. These are things that you can expect to be improved upon with better processing power, improved sound design, and further innovation in the field. Let's look at a Potential for use in music. Binaural audio music recordings go way back to the 1950s. It was most famously used by Lou Reed's band, The Velvet Underground. Now, I've definitely heard of their band name before, but I don't think I've heard any of their songs. Binaural audio and music seem to have peaked in the 90s, with it being used by noteworthy bands like the Rolling Stones and Pearl Jam. Since then, it has not seen the mainstream. This is likely due to a number of reasons. The main one being that you cannot reach a broad audience when your music is meant to be heard by headphones. The mainstream thrives off of radio, party playlists, music videos, and concerts. I think there's room for a big artist to incorporate it well and stylistically. I'm sure there are a lot that already have, which I haven't heard. Let me know if you've heard any binaural audio songs before. I'd be interested in checking out suggestions. Now, this isn't really music, but there's this thing called ASMR that had a flash of popularity last year. Apparently, ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, which describes the tingly feeling you get when someone whispers in your ear. ASMR video makers sometimes use binaural audio recordings to enhance the experience. Well, those who can afford the recording equipment do so. So for movies, the movie would have to be from a first-person perspective or maybe found footage style. Most movies have ever-changing camera positions of unhuman variety. Having the constantly changing reference points would make binaural audio a distraction. There's potential for fly-on-the-wall style movies, but it would have to be done well. No potential for playback in most theater or home theater setups, which is a major drawback. It could be good for occasional instances in 3D movies, but once again, you would have to have earphones on for this. Picture a character popping out of the screen and sounding closer to you to whisper right in front of you. Binaural audio was used quite effectively in an episode of Doctor Who, which you can see linked on the description below, but otherwise is only on Vimeo short films or YouTube videos. So, in conclusion, people are going to figure out inventive ways to use binaural audio, and it will hit the mainstream in music or movies at some point, at least as a bit in a flash. For movies and most VR video games, it seems that Dolby Atmos has kind of taken the lead, which is binaural audio is two audio channels. Surround sound would be like 5 or more, and Dolby Atmos is like an unlimited number all around you in a space, so it would not require headphones, but it is done quite differently than binaural audio. And here's the references in order. Some articles, Wikipedia, and the articles in HRTFs, and all the media references, the YouTube videos and pictures as they appeared in order. And I'll have some links in the descriptions for the rest of the videos as well. Thank you for watching.